talking about graphics. Again, I'm aware that our examples are not from sports, and a lot of them are going to be from Mountain West, but I wanted to make sure that you guys got actual pictures from the style guide. This new graphics package is beautiful. It gives you so many options, okay? But there's certain things that you want to make sure it looks the same. The one thing that you guys have to remember, again, you're not just working for your schools anymore, it's for the conference. And what happens when you work for networks is that you have to work with something called branding. Branding is a normal look that everyone's going to have. When someone at home tunes in to the W.TV, they're going to see what they expect. Every football game you see on Fox looks the same. You know what the sounds are. You know what the look is, okay? So it's something that we're going to do our best to uphold the whole way. Okay, so these are just your bare minimum graphics. Now this is what's called a title card or a locator, depending on where you came up in television. This will be at the start of each and every one of your games. Okay, this will be, you'll have your logos for each school. You have your school names and their records. Sometimes you'll have their record and then in parentheses their conference record. And then I'm going to want to know what stadium or arena I'm in, field I'm at, and the city I'm in. Okay. Now, I am aware that some of the schools have really long names. I've done 100 games in the WCC. I get it. I get that writing. The San Francisco Dons is really long. Okay. So I would highly suggest that you choose, and you'll be getting actually a list of what they expect you to call each school, so you don't have to question. But you'll choose San Francisco versus San Diego, okay? You don't have to always put San Francisco Dons versus San Diego Trail. The type would be like this tiny, okay? So you need to make sure that you are aware that we're aware you're gonna do your best to get everything you can in. This will come up, and you'll sit on this before you start your game. And then I will dip to black, come up on a pan of your arena or your field, put this up, and this gives the time for your talent to read that open copy card you gave them before they come on camera, right? We're here, and there's shots of fans, and then you can go to them. So obviously this is a football lineup. Your basketball lineups look completely different, but the thing is that it's, with every sport, lineups is the one thing that's different. And so you'd have a different soccer lineup than you will basketball and volleyball, things like that. And so this is just one that I had from the style guide to give you an idea. So your lineups, short of volleyball, you should be able to get lineups into every game, okay? You start asking for them as early as you can. One of the reasons why you want to have your graphics people pre-build as much as possible is so they have time to run down to the field and ask for these lineups, see if you can't get them in. If you can't get them in graphically, try to at least get them in verbally with your talent. Basketball's the easiest to do it. There's only 10 guys on the court at once, and oftentimes they'll give it to you 5 hours before the game starts. Volleyball nearly never happens. I don't think once in my career, that's a lie. I think once in my career I've gotten lineups for volleyball. Volleyball coaches tend to be very secretive. But with basketball, other sports you're used to.
Basketball one too.
Oh, yeah. So it's a full page per team. So that's the basketball one. He's higher up than me. He got it before I did. It's pre-release date.
He's coming today.
I'm excited, actually. Yeah, I've seen them, and so what I would just do is that's a full page. You'd want to just get like a shot of some lights to make sure that you could go to that full page, not a lot of messy stuff behind, and then you can go ahead and put that up. And then your graphics operator can switch, which we call hard cut, so they can hot change them and go to your other team right after, or you can come back, show a shot of the other coach, then come up with that with the starting lineup for the other team. So, we can make sure we can get those in. So these lower thirds are very similar no matter what the sport is, okay? It's the same metallic look. So what you're looking at, and why I wanted to bring up this, is that you can pre-build a lot of your bios, your coaches' bios, your season stats, things like that. You would use these in a basketball game, for an example, when they're on the line. There's a lot of time for most players on the line. When I played basketball, I had the most ridiculous routine that I think I started in the 4th grade, and I carried it all the way. It never did me wrong, and it took forever. I mean, I used the entire time, and take that last breath. You could have given me 3 fonts on the time. I told them that my favorite color is hot pink. I had all the time in the world. Some players, they give that one spin of the ball and it's gone. So you'll get used to it as you go, okay? So you're gonna wanna look not only to get their bios in, talk about height, their weight, where they're from. I wanna make one exception here. There's certain things that you wanna make sure that you understand, and I'm sure most of you do, that when you're putting up graphics. Female athletes, you never put up their weight. You just don't. Don't be that guy. It's just a rule that you never do, okay? You also don't want to put up that they like kittens. They're still athletes. So there is a double standard, but you want to work on that, okay? For an example, you have somebody that's injured. You don't want to keep an ISO of them until they're laying on the ground crying. Remember, that athlete is still a child. People are at home. You want to make sure you cut away. I give it a 3 count. If somebody goes down on that court, I go 1, 2, 3. They're not getting up. I'm going to go to a wide. I'm going to cut around other cameras. I want to know that they're going to get up before I go back. Okay? Nobody wants to see that. If they get up, sure, replay it if you want. If you've got 3 plays, you can talk about it. If they're later sitting on the bench, you can put up a lower third that said sprained ankle, out for the game, or whatever you want. But just keep that in mind. Just be sensitive to certain things like that, especially when you're trying to get player fonts in. Going to break. All of our score strips are different because they're different sports. So what you want to make sure, you will have a new basketball score that is going to be your block score that's usual. Do you have that?
Yeah.
So this will be a part of your graphics package for basketball. You also have a bigger, you also have a big score bug like this that you can go to break with just to give yourself a different look. Now, the reason why I suggest this one is because when you're at break and you're sitting on a wide shot, you don't necessarily need the shot clock in there and things like that. So while you are waiting or you're building at breaks, you can have this larger scoreboard up too. Okay, promos. So you are given several different, what we call shells. These shells can be used for a lot of things. This is one of the shells that we have that is just a lower third shell. Now, when you get this shell, this can all be changed. This is just an example to highlight an upcoming game. Okay, if instead you want to just highlight something that has to do with next week is senior night, and you want just your own logo here, you can adjust that and change that, okay? If you want to talk about whatever it is, all of this can be changed. The information can be changed. The logos inside can be changed. So don't be afraid to alter things enough to get what you need out of them, okay? But just try to do your best to keep the same branding, the same look as much as you possibly can. So what you're gonna wanna make sure, things that are gonna pop out to me. My top line is a light gray, metallic. My bottom line is yellow. So I'm going to try to make sure that when I alter this to what I want, I'm going to keep that consistent, okay? I'm going to try to make sure that this box with the border around it is consistent. Okay, what I put inside of it is up to me to make sure that it meets my needs. Okay, so these are the things that you're going to want to make sure that you can adjust based on what you want. Now, you can use this for any promos that you want. Upcoming games, anything like that. So you want to make sure that you have the ability to do any of that. Now, in your graphics package, you're given full pages, which you can use for your standings and you can use for upcoming schedules. You're given Twitter handles. You're given this talent IDs that come out, 1 line for just their name or 2 line for their Twitter handle underneath it. There may be 3/4 of this package that you don't use. But as you get better, or you find somebody that really likes to do graphics and they can spread their wings, you can use more and more of it. So just try to play around with it. Live text is very user friendly. You know, you can put different logos in, and you can put a WCC logo in there, and you could, whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to not necessarily promote a game, but you want to promote the championship for something, that you want to tune people in for just the W.TV, you can put the W.TV logo in there and put in your information, okay? You can use these for everything that you need. In there, you have a copyright shell that gives you the information for your copyright. It's going to give you an information for a courtesy. You want to remember that oftentimes courtesies are exactly that. They're just courtesy. Now, you may sit there and say, well, we didn't use this. We didn't use NC2A images. It's a courtesy. It's easier to just put the blanket over before we find out that we're cold, okay? So those are the things that you want to make sure. The closed copy we'll go through at the end of every game is you're going to put up your final score. If you have a next game promo, which would look like this, whether it's just your logo or it has the 2 logos, depending on what you guys had time for, and then you're going to have your courtesy, and then you're going to end with your final score. It's always going to be the same, okay? So what you'll want to do is you'll want to make sure the graphics person has a copy of your closed copy so that they know when they say, for my broadcast partner, score. Where we are in the final score is, keep that up. Then we're going to say, this has been an exclusive presentation. By then, we want to make sure that we've got our copyright up. If we're going to promote our next game, make sure you tune in for graphics person knows to change it. It's just a matter of pushing a button and it's changed, okay? So make sure you tune in. Next game promo. And this has been an exclusive. Copyright. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Score. Good night. Okay? So that you have it even. I would highly suggest before you get off the air, that last break, make sure everybody knows where they're going. You're a tour guide. So the hardest parts of a game, just like any flight will ever be on, takeoff and landing. Always the hardest parts of a game. Okay? So everybody needs to know, what's the traffic? Where are we going in the open? Before the game starts, before you even talked about where, you know, cameras are going to be in talent, this is what we're going to do, everybody. We're going to come on the air. I'm going to be with Joe on camera 2. I want to pan. I'm going to put up that graphic. And then I'm going to go to camera 1 with Mike with the talent. I'm going to stay there. And then 2, Joe, I'm going to come back to you. By then, I want you to give me a shot of some of the guys warming up. And then I'll go back to 1 with Mike for the talent. And then I'm going to go to camera 3. I want to get some fans. And then we're going to be gone. Make sure everyone knows. Okay? Are we recording on the TriCaster? Good, if we're going to pre-tape it. If not, are we going live? Does our test stream look good? Okay? Graphics, are you good? Do you know your traffic? We're going to go locator, talent, coming up. Locator, talent, then be ready with the score. Whatever it is that you're going to do. If you're going to go to a break before the game or if you're going to go right into play, make sure everybody on your team knows where we're going. Cameras included. Same thing when you're getting off the air. That last time that you break, bless you.
Thank you.
That last time that you break before you get off the air, make sure everyone knows where they're going. All right, guys, this is the last break we're going to take. When we get off the air, I want cameras. I'm going to be cutting around. I want to make sure that I get some shots of celebration, some handshakes, and some fans. Camera 2, I want you over at the, talent bench to see if we can get an interview. Okay? This is what we're going to do. If we can get the interview, great. I'm going to give it a couple minutes. If not, I'll let you know we're going to get off the air. Graphics, do you know your closed copy? I got it. They need to know the order, the sequence, written down, what numbers to plug up. Okay? All right, everybody, we're going to come back, and that way we can get off the air clean. Biggest mistakes happen coming on and getting off, always. So just make sure everyone knows where they are. Okay? Understand, the last thing I want to talk about before I let you guys have questions and stuff is halftime. Figure out what you want to do for halftime. Now, that being said, if you want, when the game, that first half ends, if you want to sit on a wide shot with your score up that says halftime, that's up to you. Completely understandable, okay? I do encourage you and challenge you to do a little bit more than that. Everybody's going to need a break. Okay, so for the first 5 minutes of halftime, everyone get off. I need everybody back with 9 minutes left in the half, with 8 minutes left in the half. Come back, put your talent on. Those of you that have 3 plays, you should be able to have a highlight package. Those of you that don't, let's talk about stats. You've got graphics person sitting there. Have them do a full page stat, a team comparison. Talk about what's going on, and go ahead and go back to break, okay? So I challenge you to kind of push that as we go. In our last presentation, we talked about a lot of schools do features during the week, okay, that on players or on championship events, things like that. So I know that Jeff Turiel is working with getting you guys, I guess everybody has an FTP site that you guys can all get on that you can access highlights and stuff like that. If you have those features, please post them. When you find out you're playing a different school or if your school's traveling, let that team know. Send an email. Say, Elena, just to let you know, I posted a point guard feature. If you guys want to use it, great. That'd be awesome. Run those during your halftime. Give people at home something to watch, something that will interest them. It doesn't even have to be that sport, because keep in mind, some people that are watching are just prospective students. They want to know more about the school. So if you have an opportunity to showcase your schools, use it. If you have features that you guys have done yourselves, use them. Don't be afraid to fill that time and give yourself that opportunity, okay? We talked about in the as well, melts. Now, a lot of times you guys are posting, you guys have like plays of the week and stuff like that that you'll post shots to the FTP site for. We discussed in the last group, and I've had a lot of discussions with other conferences around the US. Trust me, it's a lot easier if you make a routine of when you are done with your show, you build what we call a melt. A melt is a highlight, low light package. It can be 3 minutes, it can be 5 minutes, some great shots of your game. You export this from the TriCaster and you upload it to the FTP site. If everybody gets on board and does it, we all have a lot happier world. And the reason is because now you guys can use that footage for your opens. You can use that footage for your halftimes. You can use that footage, and the more that there is, the better. If you think about, to make a routine of it, it'll take you an extra 15 minutes after the game to go through, grab those shots. Even if you go home and upload it from your computers in your houses or your apartments and leave it going, it'll be something that everybody else in the conference can count on it being there, but then you can count on it being there for you when you need it. If you want to do, a lot of times people want to do game previews beforehand. Some schools are building a near 15-minute show that's going to be a game preview. You can use that footage from the other schools. You have your footage up there as well. Okay, so try to get in a habit of doing this. The more we can share footage from our home universities, the easier our jobs are going to be when those games are at our homes. Make sense? So again, halftime, don't feel obligated, but just challenge yourselves to be able to figure out what we can do. Okay, so maybe for the first few games, we just fill one segment. We're going to come back with 3 minutes left in the half, and we're going to fill that. That'll give us time to talk. Maybe we can grab an interview. Maybe we can set that up. Go to break, sit on a wide shot, come back, have an interview. It could be an interview with a different coach from a different sport. Maybe next week it's a big game and we want to talk to them. So try to challenge yourselves to get into a situation where we're seeing what else can we do. We've got the graphics package, we've got the great gear, we've got nice cameras, and we're learning more in all these positions that we should be able to get to that point as soon as we feel more comfortable and we have that staff to do it.